Now, even before all the that come out about him, I always thought he had an incredibly punchable face. You know what I mean? It's just that kind of... Welcome back to another video. Today's going to be a bit of a fun one, I think, because we're going to go through 10 of the biggest assholes in music. That's not like physical, not like a actual physical, examining of the... You get what I'm saying. This one was completely inspired by Wyatt's Metal. He recently did a couple of videos where he was talking about the worst bandmates in history. It's a similar sort of vein, but, there I go with the anatomical stuff again. So we're going to get straight into it. And my first pick... And I nearly didn't choose him. But it's Gene Simmons. Did you know that Gene Simmons invented oxygen? Yeah. According to Gene Simmons, he invented everything. He's tried to trademark every goddamn thing that there is on the planet. It's absolutely insane. He says some stupid shit. I think a lot of it's just to try and stay relevant, to try and stay in the headlines. But there has been more serious stuff. I know there's been some allegations made against him throughout the years and less than reputable conduct with people. And, he's ended a lot of careers over the years. I nearly didn't include him because I think he'd had an accident recently, and obviously we just lost Ace Frehley, which is really sad. And I've never been a huge Kiss fan, but I do appreciate them. And Ace Frehley especially seemed like a really genuinely cool dude. And how many of your favourite musicians became musicians because of Ace Frehley? The amount of tributes that have been coming in over the last couple of days for the guy, from all the bands that I grew up listening to, just saying they picked up the guitar, they wanted to be a guitar player because of Ace Frehley. They saw that picture of Ace with the Les Paul and the smoke billowing out of the pickups, and they were like, that's what I want to do for a living. So nothing but respect there. Like I said, originally I wasn't going to include Gene on this list. However, it did get me thinking, like, him and Paul Stanley, of course, who could have also made this list, have said some pretty shit things about Ace over the years. Some really nasty things. And of course, now they've been paying tribute to him, and that's all very well and good, but kind of, it did get me thinking. It's like, well, it's kind of too late now, really. You said a lot of shit about him, and now that he's gone, now it's the nicer stuff, I mean, this could, like I said, this could be for Paul Stanley as well. I will give Gene some credit. Since the passing of Ozzy earlier on in the year, he's actually said some really nice things in interviews. He said a lot of great things about Ozzy, and he does seem like somebody who's maybe starting to reflect on what a dickhead he's been throughout his life and some of the things he said. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm putting too much emphasis on that, but I mean, look at that hair. Look at the hair. It's crazy, isn't it, that you've got people who have that much money and that's the look that they go with. Next up, very obvious one, Ian Watkins, for very obvious reasons. Of course, last week he was stabbed to death in prison. There wasn't many people feeling sorry for him. I did a video about him. I kind of said everything I need to say. I don't need to go into what he did. You all know what he did. It's absolutely atrocious. I was kind of taken aback by some of the comments I got, though, on the last video. So there were some people who shared their stories of what they went through as kids, and it was really traumatic, and there was certainly no love lost for the guy. There was also a disturbing, I think there were 2 comments from people defending him, and the way they were defending him was suspect, to say the least. So I don't know, I don't want to go into this one too much. I said everything I wanted to on the last video, but yeah, there was some strange comments on the last video. Most of it was exactly what I expected, people kind of feeling the same way I did. Like I said, there were some people who've been through some horrendous shit, and I'm really sorry that you had to go through that, and that's the point I was trying to make with that video, is the scars that people like this leave behind, and that there's still people out there getting away with it. Although there was some news with a certain member of a family that has just gone by this last couple of days, which was kind of satisfying to hear. Anyway, let's get rid of this guy. I want him off my goddamn screen. Next up on the list, it's Dave Mustaine. Did you know that Dave Mustaine used to be in Metallica? I'm actually considering doing some merch, maybe some, coffee mugs, maybe some T-shirts with that slogan on. Let me know what you think of that one. I've got a few others. Somebody actually gave me an idea the other day as well that I should put "I'm not having that" on a T-shirt. Maybe that'd be a good go. Good go, I think what bugs me the most about Dave, phenomenal guitar player. I'll always give him respect for that. Always give him props for that. He brings up the Metallica. There are so many people in the comments whenever I go on about Dave, about how when he brings up Metallica, it's usually the journalist pushing towards it. It's not. There's so many interviews I've seen where Metallica's not been mentioned at all. He just brings it up. Joe Rogan, when he was on the Joe Rogan Experience years ago, he couldn't wait to bring it up. Joe didn't go near it. He didn't talk about the Metallica thing at all. Dave just brought it up. Just brings it up all the time. I get it, but get over it. God, Jesus. But what bugs me the most about that, he talks about being chucked out of that band. And I know he was there at the beginning of the band, and I know he contributed a lot to it. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that he didn't. But how many careers has Dave Mustaine ended? How many people has he gotten rid of over the years? How many careers has he just put a stop to? It was like, no, nah. It's quite a lot. Not going to go any further. Next up, Axl Rose. But to be fair to him, he kind of seems like somebody who's maybe getting his shit together over the years. Of course, his diva-like behaviour has been legendary. Words are tough. Has been legendary over the years. Now, the amount of times that he would turn up late at concerts or cancel, getting in altercations with fans, and of course the one that really stands out to me is the Montreal incident where the Guns N' Roses and Metallica were touring together. Metallica played first and James Hetfield blew up on stage. They were playing Fade to Black. All of this was, I remember watching this on the Year and a Half in the Life of Metallica documentary years ago, where they were playing Fade to Black. James went over to a part of the stage that he didn't think pyro was going to be going off on. Pyro went up, blew the fucker up. He had third-degree burns over his arms and everything. Obviously, they had to stop the show. Later on, Axl played a couple of songs. Then he decided, I can't really be bothered, and fucked off. That's pretty shit. That is pretty shit. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, he does seem to be someone who's, kind of getting his shit together a bit more now. But could be a bit of an arsehole. Coming in at number 5. Are we at number 5 already? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we are number 5. We're getting through this. Tim Lambesis from, was it As I Lay Dying? Of course, there's no way I couldn't include him on this. Oh, I need to get him up on here, don't I? Now, even before all the shit that came out about him, I always thought he had an incredibly punchable face. He just has that kind of spoilt brat. Let me try and get a real good picture of it. Let me find a good one. Well, I say a good one, a bad one. Well, that one there, look at his face. You know what I mean? It's just that kind of, why aren't I just getting everything I want? You know what I mean? It's that kind of a vibe. I mean, he'd probably kick the shit out of me, but, whatever. It's the beauty of YouTube, isn't it? Now, he's done some pretty shit stuff. Of course, he hired an assassin to kill his wife. It's a pretty bad thing. I said the aforementioned punchable face. I mean, I think that's that kind of, it's kind of high up there, I'd say. The band reformed. I think it was new members. I'm not sure. I've not. It's one of those bands I've never really bothered with that much. But they reformed, and they've since now deformed because of a lot of other shit that Tim. There was a lot of video footage of Tim being very abusive towards his wife. I think there was even something to do with the dog as well, which more people were pissed off about. The band disbanded again because of his behaviour. I couldn't, in fairness to him on that point, wouldn't those people have known this shit about him going into it? I mean, if you're going into a band with somebody who has gone to prison for hiring an assassin to kill your wife, his wife, is that not a red flag? Okay, moving on. Next on the list, Gigi Allen. Now, he threw a lot of shit at the audience. I mean, I think that's that says quite a lot there, you know. Oh, hang on, see, I keep forgetting to do the Gigi Elan. Let's got a good picture of him up. I mean, he was a handsome dude, wasn't he? I mean, you know, you can see why the ladies loved him. There's obviously some influence that this guy has had over the years, especially with the more extreme sort of side of the punk and hardcore scene sort of thing. You know, there are a lot of people who, you know, I can appreciate some of the music. You can tell me all day that throwing shit at the crowd is an artistic statement. And I'll say, it's not art, it's shit. I'll stand by that. Now, there's a lot of other shit he did as well. Some questionable shite. He threw shit at people. I'm not having that. Right. Moving on. It's Varg. It's old Varg. Now, let's go through. I mean, he killed Euronymous. Now, Varg, you know, legendary in the black metal scene. I'll say right now, I actually like Bertson. I don't listen to a huge amount of black metal. I like a lot of the atmospheric black metal. Is definitely my favourite. I like Bertson. I think Bertson. I think his musical output is actually pretty damn good. I know that's not a popular thing to say maybe nowadays, but you know, the guy is, you know, had some issues. Of course, most infamously, he killed Euronymous. In fairness to the guy, it turns out that Euronymous was going around saying that he was going to kill Varg, so Varg got in there first. I mean, he stabbed him like 17 times, many of which was in the back. So, you know, it's difficult to just, you know, he certainly had intention there. It's fair to say he's got some pretty super far right views. Burnt some churches. Am I? Hear me out. Am I the only one, though, who finds him very entertaining? I mean, clearly not, because his TikTok channel's blowing up. When he was on YouTube years ago, I think it was called Thulian Perspective, it got taken down for, again, some of his very super right-wing views. That was doing very well. People clearly like what he... And I don't think it's just people who agree with what he says. I don't agree with a lot of stuff he says. I want to make that absolutely clear. But he's kind of an entertaining guy. Am I wrong in saying that? Let's find out. No, let's move on. Next up, it's Yngwie Malmsteen. Did you know that he doesn't like donuts? Did you know? Now, Yngwie is one of those people. He's very much seen as an arsehole because of his ego. His arrogance is pretty much legendary. He's one of those incredibly skilled musicians who is so aware that he's an incredibly skilled musician that his ego and dictatorial attributes that go along with it are undeniable. Undeniably great on guitar, that neoclassical guitar that he helped propel forward. Now, I'll be honest, his music has never done anything for me. Incredibly skilled player. His music does nothing for me. Does that make him an arsehole? Yeah. Moving on to Nikki Sixx. I've never liked Nikki Sixx. There are a couple of Motley Crue songs that I like, but I always found Motley Crue very cringy, right from the even when I was a youngster and everyone was supposedly getting into the party. I always found them really cringe and just creepy, to be quite honest with you. And I always found him to be particularly loathsome. Of course, there's all the stuff of him not being able to play his bass live. I mean, how bad of a musician do you have to be? And I'm not putting... There are some phenomenal bass players out there. I'm not trying to say that for 1 second, but Motley Crue bass lines are not the most complex, you know what I mean? But I think the main thing that gets me about Nikki Sixx was his treatment of Mick Mars. Mick Mars always seemed like a really good dude to me. He seems like the real talent of the band. I think he founded the band, I believe, as well. I think it was his band. But hang on, let me have a... Yeah, so for all of his professional career, Mars has struggled with ankylosing oh, Jesus Christ, hang on, that. A chronic inflammatory form of arthritis that mainly affects the spine and pelvis. So the poor bastard, he's really gone through some physical pain throughout his life while he's been doing all the stuff with Motley Crue. That's pretty fucking harsh, man. He seems like a really cool dude, actually. I've seen some interviews with him. He seems like a really lovely guy. And he's a genuinely talented guitarist. I'm not a great fan of Motley Crue, but, I could respect him as a guitar player immediately. He was a fantastic guitar player. But yeah, they pretty much booted him out of the band. I think there was a lot of gaslighting that was going on. Mick, I think he was more than capable of performing, but they were trying to say that he was incapable of playing, bearing in mind that Nicky Sixx can't even play his own fucking bass. I'm pretty sure I remember interviews where I saw Nicky Sixx saying about what an inspiration Mick Mars was to him as well. He was almost like a big brother who really gave him so much, so to then treat him like shit because of it, I don't know. I mean, who knows? Who knows what really goes on? Obviously, recently it came out that, oh goddamn, Vince Neil had actually had 3 strokes over his life, which, obviously had some effect on his performing. So, you don't know what's going on throughout, behind closed doors, but I don't know, just seems like a real... I'll stick with it, Nicky Sixx is a twat. Never liked him. And lastly, we're going with Greg Ginn from Black Flag. Now, I'm a big Black Flag fan. A lot of people might be tempted to put Henry Rollins on this list. I've always admired Rollins. He's played a huge part in my life, especially I've been sober now for over 10 years, and Rollins and his disciplined lifestyle was a big part of that, in inspiring me for doing that. I'll even go so far, this might be uncommon, this might destroy my hardcore credentials, not that I ever had any, but I would actually, if it come down to Black Flag or Rollins Band, I'd actually take Rollins Band. Yeah, I know, but it's true. Not many people seem to have great things to say about Greg Ginn. The main thing that I hear about him is the whole royalties thing. Like, he's pretty much every single person that he's played with over the years, he's ended up screwing over. There aren't many people who come to this guy's defense. He seems to be pretty bad for handing over cash. And of course, there's the recent formation of Black Flag. I can't remember if it's called Black Flag or just Flag now, when it's just a bunch of kids with him playing guitar. It's not Black Flag. Black Flag was what it was years ago, you know what I mean? It died in 86 when they split up, that was it. Since then, Black Flag hasn't been around, in my opinion. But there was a great interview that I remember hearing with Rollins years ago, where he was saying the worst thing, that Ginn made it impossible to look back at that period of time with any kind of fondness, because it seems like most people respect his genius as a musician. I think everybody completely respected him as a musician, as a songwriter, and it seems like everybody gave their all for him. People really committed to Black Flag and gave everything they had for him then to just pretty much screw them over and make all of that just, redundant. So, for that reason, Greg Ginn is my final asshole for this video. It's good, isn't it? So there we go, another one done. Be interested to see if this one does anything at all. Car's still fucked. Got to buy a new one. So I'm stuck doing these for now. They're going alright though, aren't they? Last couple of videos have done very, very well actually. So there's me been going out, trying to, brave the elements to bring you content for years, and I do this shit just sat at my desk, and people seem to be loving it, so. Did you know? See you next time. Bye.